Hi guys, let's do the eukaryotic cell structure notes. Okay, we are going to start out with the outermost structure, the cell wall. Okay, its function is to provide a boundary. Okay, it is only found in plant cells. And some bacteria. Okay, we just talked about the bacteria cells today in class. They have cell walls. Animal cells do not have cell walls. They don't. That is a defining characteristic of a plant cell. So, cell wall is a rigid wall outside the plasma membrane that gives extra support. Gives extra support to the cell. All right, and remember, it is not found in animal cells. I'm going to write that in a different color so it stands out a little bit more for you. Not in animal cells. Okay, not found in them. You're not going to find a plant cell or an animal cell with a cell wall. You're just not going to do it. Okay, our next structures that we're going to talk about, nuclear envelope, chromatin, chromosomes, nucleolus, and onto the next page, ribosomes and cytoplasm. They all are either part of the nucleus or are involved in cell control. So this whole box right here, okay, that's what we're going to write. Nucleus and cell control. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and write it on the next page, right next to ribosomes and cytoplasm. All right, so nucleus and cell control. That is the function of all of these. They're either in the nucleus, part of the nucleus, or somehow control the cell. Now we're going to go into the description of each of them. So starting with the nuclear envelope, okay, hold on, I think we're missing one, guys. We'll add it at the bottom. Okay, so the nuclear envelope, it surrounds the nucleus. Surrounds the nucleus and has thousands of pores or openings that allow RNA out of the nucleus. That RNA is how the cell talks. That's how the DNA inside the nucleus tells the cell what to do. Okay, it's like sending out a memo or a note saying, hey, do this, guys, and then the cell does it. Okay, next we have chromatin. Okay, chromatin are strands of DNA located throughout the nucleus. Throughout the nucleus. Okay, so that is the genetic material that makes me different from you. Moving on to chromosomes. These form when the cell is about to divide or split. So this chromatin, the chromatin that we just defined here, okay, it coils up and forms chromosomes. So it is condensed chromatin that contains genetic information passed on to offspring. Alright, so the chromatin contains that genetic information as well, but in the form of a chromosome, it's just coiled up really tight so that it's easier to move around. Our next structure is the nucleolus, okay, and it makes ribosomes, which is another structure that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. Okay, so the nucleolus makes ribosomes. We're going to add the nucleus right here. Okay, sorry, I forgot to include that one in there for you. And the job of the nucleus is it directs everything. It's the thing that is in charge of the cell. It directs all cell activities. If the nucleus doesn't say that it happens, it does not happen. Okay, so the nucleus contains this nuclear envelope, that's the outer boundary, and it has the chromatin inside, and this region called the nucleolus that makes ribosomes. Okay, are we good there? Let's move on to page 2. Remember, we wrote in nucleus and cell control because these are part of the cell control. The ribosome, remember, that is made by the nucleolus. Okay, its job is to make proteins. It is where proteins are made according to the DNA's directions. Okay, so the DNA tells it what proteins to make, how many of them to make, and when to make them. Okay, and moving on to the cytoplasm. This is the thick fluid outside the nucleus. Throughout the cell. So it is the gel, liquidy type stuff, kind of like Jell-O, inside the cells where everything can be found. Alright, our next organelle that we're going to talk about is the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and it works together with the Golgi apparatus, the vacuole, the lysosome, the mitochondria, and the chloroplast. Okay, and their job is assembly, transport, and storage. Assembly, transport, and storage. Okay, so all of them have that job. I'm going to go ahead and write that over here. Assembly, transport, and storage. Let's talk about the endoplasmic reticulum first. Okay, it is divided into two types, rough and smooth. The rough endoplasmic reticulum has dots all over it that are actually ribosomes, so has ribosomes. The smooth, no ribosomes. So there are no ribosomes on the smooth, and there are ribosomes on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Alright, so this is where lipids or membranes are assembled with proteins as well. So, let's see, site where lipids or membranes are assembled along with proteins. Remember, those proteins are added to the membrane as well. If you think back to the activity that we did with the bubbles, the part with the string, that would be a protein, okay? And that would be made at the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum makes the lipids. Okay, our next organelle is the Golgi apparatus, or the Golgi body. Both are correct. I will use the two terms interchangeably. They mean the exact same thing. So the job of the Golgi apparatus is to sort. So it sorts and packages proteins and other materials into structures called vesicles. Then it ships them out. So it's kind of like the post office. Okay, they get all kinds of packages and things in. All right, they package them up and they ship them out to different places around the world where they need to go. That's what the Golgi apparatus does. All right, it takes materials, packages them up, and then ships them out to other parts of the cell or to other cells, depending on where they are needed. Okay, our next one is the vacuole. It is a sac-like structure used for storage. Sac-like structure used for storage of materials like water, food, and enzymes. All right, plants have a single large one in the middle. Have one large one in the middle of the cell. All right, it's called the central vacuole. Our next organelle is the lysosome. It removes waste using digestive enzymes. Okay, our next one, the mitochondria. Mitochondria, you may have heard it called the powerhouse of the cell. This is where energy is transformed from food energy into usable energy. So it transforms chemical energy. Transform chemical energy from food into useful energy. For both plants and animals. Actually, you know what? I don't like that line there. So it just transforms it into useful energy. You guys don't have to write that bit there. Okay, transforms chemical energy from food into useful energy. It's a form called ATP. You don't need to know that for now, but later on this year we're going to talk about that a lot. Okay, our next organelle is the chloroplast, and it is found in green plants and captures sunlight and transforms it into chemical energy in the form of food. So it makes glucose out of sunlight. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. We're not going to have time to finish the notes. We will do cytoskeleton, centrioles, and cilia in the next one.